Dear viewers, this is Shashank and you're watching HW News English. A very happy Diwali to all our viewers. While the entire country is celebrating the Festival of Lights, there is some other kind of fireworks going on in the Shinde-led Shiv Sena. To discuss in detail regarding the conflict that has rocked the Shinde-led Shiv Sena, we have with us consultant editor of HW News Network, Mr. Sanjay Jog. Let's start with the show, but before that, if you're watching this on Facebook, do like our page, and if you're watching this on YouTube, do subscribe to HW News English. So, could you please shed some light over the Cold War which is going on in the Shinde-led Shiv Sena, which is now out in open? So,
Shashank, to start with, this was to happen. That's the general feeling which is coming in from Shiv Sena led by Mr. Eknath Shinde. I have been in touch with a couple of their legislators. First, they are really disgruntled and unhappy for delays in the expansion of the cabinet because, so far, including Mr. Shinde, there are 10 legislators who have been sworn in. There are 30 others. In addition to that, there are 10 independent MPs, MLAs in fact, who have supported Mr. Shinde. They are in waiting, in fact, for a long to get the cabinet ministerial berth. So that's the one thing. Second, very interestingly, they are also, feeling neglected or feeling as if, exhausted for not getting enough due in the administration, in the governance, and first of all, rather, much more important for them, as the assembly elections are about 9 to 10 months away from now. So they are worried about getting the necessary funds for their various kinds of developmental works in their respective constituencies. So that's one part. Now the remaining part, or the another part which we'll have to discuss, is that the recent, the kind of a verbal duel or a war of words, which has brought in or which has come to the fore between a very veteran Shiv Sena MP, Mr. Gajan Kirtikar, who has been a kind of a driving force behind the Sthaniya Lokadhikar Samiti, which was founded by, when he used to be in Shiv Sena led by Balasaheb Thackeray and later by Uddhav Thackeray, and another Shiv Sainik and Shiv Sena leader, Ramdas Kadam. I mean, which has brought a major kind of an embarrassment for Mr. Eknath Shinde and his camp. In fact, some of the legislators who spoke to me in private, they say this is nothing but, Mr. Shinde has cut a very sorry figure because of the verbal duel which is going on. Now, what is the trigger? Let's go deep into that. Mr. Kirtikar has been elected from, a constituency which covers Andheri, Jew, and the rest of area. So he is much more interested to get himself elected, even though he has crossed over from Uddhav Thackeray to Eknath Shinde-led camp. So obviously, because he claims that he has a clout, he has a following, and what to show to the voters is his work, what he has done for the entire constituency. Quite an obvious claimant for getting a ticket. But what's happening on the other side is that Mr. Ramdas Kadam, who was sulking, before he shifted his loyalty from Uddhav Thackeray to Eknath Shinde, was as if he was neglected. He was denied, re-nomination on the state legislative council. He was not given the ministerial berth when Mahavikas Aghadi government was formed. And then, total outburst against Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, how he has given, a kind of a go-by to Balasaheb Thackeray, Hindutva and whatnot. Later, he shifted to Eknath Shinde. He was settling down. But suddenly, there was news coming in the local Marathi papers that, some 40 odd office bearers of Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena just decided to resign, out of a serious kind of, disagreement or disgruntlement against Ramdas Kadam's style of functioning, his leadership style and whatnot. So that's one part. But what is the present, war of words which is going on between Kirtikar and Ramdas Kadam is quite interesting. What, just to tell you the viewers, Amol Kirtikar is Mr. Gajanan Kirtikar's son. Incidentally, he has not deserted Uddhav Thackeray or Aditya Thackeray, but remained in Uddhav Thackeray-led Shiv Sena. On the other hand, his father is with now Mr. Eknath Shinde. He is one of the 13 MPs who have deserted Mr. Uddhav Thackeray and joined Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena. Now, what is the trigger? Ramdas Kadam has claimed that both father and son, they work from the same office, even though they claim to be in a different groups. Further, Mr. Kadam continues to fire a salvo against Mr. Kirtikar, claiming that on the one hand, if Mr. Senior Kirtikar wants to get a nomination for the Lok Sabha seat from Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena, while his son from Uddhav Thackeray, but in between what he claimed as Mili Bhagat means there is some tacit understanding between a father and son, and that he claims nothing but a treachery, gaddari hai. Means what? On the one hand, Mr. Kadam wanted to hint or indicate that as father and son, even though both of them are in a different camp, they are from inside together. Either one of them will contest, remaining will not. But इनका जो मिला जुला जो गठबंधन हो जाएगा, because of that, what has happened that this may lead to Mr. Gajanan Kirtikar entering into a kind of a treachery, and thereby he will backstab Mr. Eknath Shinde. Interestingly, Gajanan Kirtikar did not sit quietly. In fact, he has come out with a strong rebuttal and very scathing attack against Mr. Ramdas Kadam, claiming that Mr. Kadam has no right, even he does not have any kind of a standing to question he as a traitor or a gaddar. He himself is a Mahagaddar. That's what he claims. And he went on telling that in the previous elections, maybe about 20 years ago, 30 years ago, how he has ditched the local Shiv Sainik, basically to see that the party nominated candidate is defeated. So what going on between Kritika and Kadam has literally is during the Diwali is not kind of a good sign for Mr. Eknath Shinde, as Mr. Shinde has been claiming that he is the real Shiv Sena, he who along with 39 legislators are carrying forward Balasaheb Thackera's thoughts, Anand Diga's thoughts, and also the Hindutva. But at the same time, Uddhav Thackeray, Aditya Thackeray, and those who have remained with them are continuing their tirade with saying that Eknath Shinde and others are nothing but gaddar, the traitors that who have committed treachery, and they will not be forgiven. So on the one hand, when Mr. Uddhav Thackeray and his camp is continuing with its kind of an allegation, on the other hand, Eknath Shinde faces a kind of a major trouble which is brewing within his own party. And that does not augur well for Mr. Shinde, who wants to claim and who has been claiming that as a part of NDA, he wants to put up a kind of a fight whereby in Maharashtra, out of 48 Lok Sabha seats, three parties, means BJP being a Mahashakti, then Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena, and Ajit Pawar-led NCP will get more than 45 of the 48 Lok Sabha seats. When this entire kind of plan, which is being discussed, which is being debated, and which is being made tom-tom about it, in such a time, if Mr. Kadam and Kirtikar are not, if they are not being convinced to stop, and passive, and they won't be pacified, I think Mr. Shinde will have a tough time, basically ahead of the ensuing Lok Sabha election. That's one part. Now, what's happening within the Shinde camp and the BJP? On the one hand, Shinde led, all those, legislators and the MPs are claiming that out of 48 Lok Sabha seats, they will not compromise below 18 seats, because what they are claiming is that in the 2019 elections, as BJP and Shiv Sena contested in an alliance, BJP got 23 seats, while Shiv Sena, which was undivided Shiv Sena, had back 18 seats. So they are claiming they are entitled for getting 18 seats in the Lok Sabha, to which there has been much of reluctance within the BJP, even though they are not openly coming out. But what the sense we get after speaking to a couple of their leaders and the strategists, they claim that 18 is a too big number for them to leave for Shinde. Now come to the other side. BJP is determined basically to get as much as seats as they can in Maharashtra, because after Uttar Pradesh's 80 seats, 48 is a big number, and BJP, if they are eyeing at some 400 or 350 seats, then Maharashtra definitely figures very prominently. So right now, even though they are claiming that, both of them, that, they are definitely on a common page, they are working quite hard, but there is definitely a simmering discontent which is brewing within both the camp. Now come to Ajit Dada camp. Ajit Dada deserted his uncle, under whose guidance and shadow he spread his political kind of figure, and he emerged as a leader in his own self since 1990, when he entered in that electoral politics. But what has happened is that Ajit Pawar is also sulking, as even though he has been made a deputy chief minister, it's kind of a record for Mr. Ajit Pawar to become a deputy chief minister for the fifth time in a state like Maharashtra. Even though DCM does not have any constitutional validity, he continues to be merely just a senior cabinet minister in the Council of Ministers led by Mr. Eknath Shinde. Quite interestingly, when Ajit Pawar was a DCM in the cabinet led by Uddhav Thackeray in the Mahavikas Aghadi government, same Shinde-led camp used to target him, or in fact the Shiva Sena, some of them were openly, some of them were in private, openly claiming that Ajit Pawar is giving them a kind of a stepmotherly treatment. He is not giving enough allocation of funds in their respective constituencies. On the one hand, he is giving a kind of a major cake or a major allocation to NCP legislators. Now look at it, the circle is over now. It's kind of a complete. Now Ajit Pawar led legislators are claiming, even though they are part of an NDA, even though they are part of a government led by Mr. Eknath Shinde, they are not getting their due, as they are being neglected, they have been sidetracked in the administration, governance, and getting the necessary funds for carrying out their developmental works. Look at it. So on the one hand, Shinde is faced with an internal problem. On the other hand, BJP is definitely working hard, even though they are not sure whether bringing Mr. Shinde as well as Ajit Pawar together, whether they will be able to achieve their ambitious goal of 45 plus and around say 200 plus in the coming assembly seats. So they are also in a kind of a state where they are definitely looking at both the sides, trying to rework their own strategies and putting in all efforts to see that the mission 2023 is achieved. But look at Ajit Pawar led camp. They are also not sure about their own fate, what will happen to them, as the Mahashakti is there. They will definitely have their own play. And against this backdrop, what will be their future, whether they will be able to adjust to the entire, the situation in which they have deserted Mr. Pawar and join hands with Ajit Pawar, now who is a part of NDA. So, in nutshell, three parties, they are definitely in the government, but they are, state of kind of a situation wherein each party has got its own trouble, internal bickerings, groupism, and a kind of a discontentment which is growing in three parties and their own respective legislators. Now it's kind of a very interesting situation for a journalist like us to see, to sniff, and also to go on analyzing what the situation will evolve as the Lok Sabha elections come nearer to the, as we expect that the next Lok Sabha elections may take place in April, May. So I think till that, we'll have to keep a definite close vigil and go on continuingly analyzing the situation which will evolve.
Sanjay sir, two questions. First, Now, both these leaders, Ramdas Kadam as well as Gajanan Kirtikar, indulging in a war of words is quite embarrassing for Eknath Shinde, as the Uddhav Thackeray team Thackeray had been calling them as traitors. Now, these legislators are among themselves, these lawmakers are among themselves calling names. So, this is very embarrassing for Chief Minister Shinde. So, how has he reacted? In the media, I don't think he has said anything about this, but off the record or things discussed in the media circles, if there is something you can share. And besides, do you think that Gajanan Kirtikar is stepping on two boats at the same time? Because now that Amol Kirtikar, he's saying that there are talks that he would fight from the same seat from the Thackeray led Shiv Sena. So is it like whoever wins, it is coming to the house?
No, Shashank, no, let's start with that. So far, Eknath Shinde or his group has not come out with any kind of a candid clarification or their own say on what's happening between Gajai Kirtikar and Mr. Ramdas Kadam. But internally, to whom, I have been in touch regularly with their legislators, their ministers, their MPs, they are definitely not happy as the situation is evolving. It's quite interesting. Mr it's very interesting that Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, Aditya, and a couple of their own leaders and activists, they have been targeting Eknath Shinde, making him as a Ghatna buyer, means unconstitutional chief minister, Gaddarun ka Gaddar. But look at the irony. The same thing now happening within Shinde fold in just after the entire lot came to join hands with BJP post 30th June 2022. I mean, nobody had thought of in such a shorter time, Mr. Shinde may have to face with such a kind of crisis. This is definitely a crisis. Now, Shinde is definitely a guy or a leader who will try to pacify both the warring leaders, but so far there has been no official word from Shinde camp. Now, secondly, now what are the scenarios that can be, that we can discuss about it, or they may emerge within the Shinde camp? A, as I discussed with Mr. Mr. Kirtikar, I spoke to him this morning. He is determined that whatever may be the situation, he is going to contest the ensuing Lok Sabha elections. So one thing is very clear: he is rigid, he is adamant, and he is not going to, fall prey to the pressure tactics, so-called or allegedly played by Ramdas Kadam for his second son. Second, interestingly, now Shinde has got a tough time. Shinde will have to bring both these warring leaders together and pacify them, telling that in the larger interest of his own party as well as in the larger interest of Mahayuti and NDA, you have to keep quiet. All these, issues can be sorted out. Somebody will have to sacrifice. Somebody will be the gainer. That can be the scenario that is being discussed internally within the Shinde camp. The third interestingly, is that, as Ramdas Shinde is talking about, because his elder son is a legislator from Khed constituency in basically a Konkan region. So he is definitely looking at his son will continue to be the legislator post the 2024 elections. At the same time, his son has no kind of an opportunity that it will get basically to be nominated for the Lok Sabha seat from Ratnagiri Sindhudurg, where there are so many claimants. Like in between, Nitesh Rane decided to just resign and get out of political sannyas, but it's just a short of just a 1 day or short of 24 hours, he withdrew his decision post his meeting with Devendra Fadnavis, because he is also one of the claimants for the Ratnagiri Sindhudurg Lok Sabha constituency to contest against Vinayak Raut, who is an MP from Uddhav Thackeray led Shiv Sena. At the same time, Uday Samant's brother, Uday Samant, has been in Congress, then NCP, then Shiv Sena, led by Uddhav Thackeray, and now with Eknath Shinde, who happens to be the industry minister of Maharashtra. His brother, real brother, is also interested to get nomination for the Lok Sabha seat. So, as far as Ramdas Kadam's second son is concerned, there is no vacancy which is lying, vacant there. So, naturally, Mr. Kadam will try to get some kind of, by playing this kind of, what should I say, a gimmick or openly targeting Kirtikar, he may try to squeeze something for his son, if not in constituency which is represented by Gajababu Kirtikar, but he may be settled. He may settle down maybe on the legislative council or in a successive Rajya Sabha or whatever kind of elections that is in a store. So these are the 2-3 opportunities that is being considered internally. But right now, Eknath Shinde has yet to, as the Diwali is on, so maybe post Diwali, Eknath Shinde may convene a meeting where both the leaders will join and they will discuss and rake up their own issues, and Mr. Shinde will have to play a kind of a mediating role. These are the things which we can discuss and analyze at this point in time. Now, coming to the other side, very interestingly, what is happening is that Shinde is, working. Shinde wants to be a, in fact, Shinde is projecting himself as a common man's leader. He does not believe in that hierarchy. Like yesterday, quite interesting that, he hails from Thane. There is a very famous eating out known for their own misal. So he went along with his trusted, leaders and karyakartas and Shiv Sainik to eat there, and he paid for the entire lot. He wanted to project that he has not forgotten his original roots. He wants to connect with the locals. He wants to connect with the common working class, and that's why the way he is projecting himself is that even though he is the chief minister, he has not dealing from grassroots, and he wants to continue to be in that scenario, even though the elections are nearing, maybe in the next 6 to 7 months. Against this backdrop, Eknath Shinde would like, like he so far, out of whatever, 100 plus corporators, now ex-corporators, now, about 56, 57 corporators who used to be with Uddhav Thackeray camp have already shifted their loyalty to Eknath Shinde. What I gather is that some another 20 corporators may be, lured by Eknath Shinde. So against this backdrop, he wants to put up a kind of a show wherein not only he is a leader, he is a kind of a mentor, but at the same time, he is in the mood of basically bringing all those people, those who have been in power, those who have lost elections earlier, those who have remained as Vibhag Pramukh, Shakha Pramukh. So, putting a kind of a unity show, this or united show, this is a kind of a must requirement for Eknath Shinde to counter, Uddhav Thackeray, because the general impression within the Shiv Sena as well as the BJP is that they have yet to break the sympathy that Mr. Uddhav Thackeray enjoys. So against this backdrop, if such kind of an open war is exposed or continues between senior leaders of Shinde camp, I think it's quite high time for Mr. Shinde to intervene and to quail and to keep them, in good faith or in humor, so that he may not face embarrassment, giving a kind of a ready-made opportunity for the opposition to target them. So I think by and large, the situation is quite delicate for Mr. Shinde. At the same time, Uddhav Thackeray is not, as the saying goes, he may be, down, but certainly not out. He has been, on the move. The other day, he was in Mumra, where he tried to, reach out to the Shiv Sainiks who were quite hurt after the Shakha was demolished. And he gave a kind of a moral support, even though he was barred from entering into a certain area by the police. But he went there. It was quite a huge mobilization, even though Shinde's group also tried their mobilization to counter Uddhav Thackeray. But the point I am driving here is that on the one hand, Uddhav is determined to project Mr. Shinde and Shinde-led camp as a Gaddar or a traitor. They should be taught a lesson. On the other hand, it's quite of a acid test or a litmus test for Eknath Shinde, basically to put all those, those who are having a lot of ambitions to get a ticket or ministerial berth or MPship, they will have to be brought on board and tell them that this is the time, maybe for a sacrifice we may get, maybe in next a couple of days or couple of years. For that we'll have to wait. But for now, please keep quiet and let's march for along with the BJP to see that the Mahayuti gets 45 plus seats. So this is the situation right now. I think quite interesting for Mr. Shinde is that he may not have even thought of such kind of ugly exchange of war between two senior and veteran Shiv Sainik and Shiv Sena leaders. I think he also got, this entire verbal duel caught Mr. Shinde unawares, and now let's see how he takes it forward, how he is able to convince them, and how he can put up a kind of a show of unity along with basically Mahashakti as well as Ajit Pawar group to show that they are together and they can achieve that mission 2023.
Sanjay sir, you termed the entire episode as a crisis for Shinde, Eknath Shinde and his Shiv Sena. So, can Mr. Shinde afford such a crisis just months away from the speaker's announcement? Because now, according to the Supreme Court, the Rahul Narvekar, Speaker of Maharashtra Assembly, has to announce his decision before 31st December 2023. So at this point of time, when he would expect the party to be united the most, at such point of time there is war of words or conflict, whatever you call it. So don't you think this is the worst time to have such kind of conflict?
I cannot judge whether it is the worst time or not, but I can definitely show there are always, because I have covered politics for so many years, I can see there are always ups and downs. There are crises, there are good times. How the leader takes it, that's much more important. And I strongly feel that Eknath Shinde, the way he has deserted, the way he has challenged Uddhav Thackeray's leadership to join hands with BJP, I think he will not settle down for or without bringing these warring leaders together. He will make all the efforts to cool down both the leaders who are into war of words. But what I strongly feel at this point in time is that Mr. Shinde has to assert, that's for clear. Their own leaders are telling me in private that Mr. Shinde at times appears to be quite goody-goody with all those legislators, that he wants to keep them in good faith and good favor as they have come along, deserting Uddhav Thackeray without knowing what will be their future. So they don't, Mr. Shinde does not want to hurt them. That's one part. But on the other hand, if such kind of, ugly war of words will continue or division will come to the fore, I think his leadership will be also questioned, that he may not afford, ahead of the ensuing Lok Sabha elections. So thirdly, quite interestingly, at the same time, those, leaders, deputy leaders, Vibhag Pramukhs, Shaka Pramukhs that he has appointed after, his post-rebellion, now they also will have to wake up. They will have to, start, as if they are also not there who are, just going on, as the show must go on kind of a scenario, but they are also actively involved for strengthening the party organization ahead of the elections, and they will also see that the factionalism, internal bickerings may not come to the fore to avoid further embarrassment for their leader, Mr. Eknath Shinde. I think quite an interesting time to watch. But at the same time, look at what's happening in, it's very interesting. Like today, Marathi papers are with the news that Ajit Pawar is also sulking. Ajit Pawar may have got, which he has not got, as per the understanding that he reached when he joined hands with the Shinde Fadnavis government and become a part of NDA. So the news which clearly says that the most of his legislators are unhappy. They are also not so enthusiastic about the future of the Mahayuti if such kind of a scenario prevails. They are also not happy the manner in which they are neglected in the allocation of funds, and that's how, as the news claims, that Mr. Ajit Pawar, along with Praful Patel and Sunil Thackeray, during their last week's meeting, took it up this issue with Amit Shah also. So look at it. On the one hand, you rightly said, the speaker has been asked to settle or to give his ruling on the disqualification petitions. There are about some 34, 39 petitions which are pending before him for adjudication. Supreme Court has given a timeline that he will have to take a decision or give his ruling on or before 31st December. When this kind of hearings are on, because next hearing will start from 21st of November, and which is going to be a regular hearing. Then again, after that, there will be winter session, which will commence from 7th of December in Nagpur. So all these factors put together, this is definitely a kind of a scenario which Mr. Shinde must have not thought that will come to the fore, but which has come to now. So Mr. Shinde will have to give, rather, in fact, much more time, devote his much more time to all these factors to settle, in fact, all these internal bickerings, keep BJP as well as his own camp and NCP led by Ajit Pawar in a good humor, good faith, so that Uddhav Thackeray, Congress, and Sharad Pawar led NCP will not get further ammunitions to target them ahead of ensuing Lok Sabha elections.
Sir, now that you have mentioned Ajit Pawar, so let's spend a couple of minutes on Ajit Pawar as well. Ajit Pawar was down with dengue. He had also tweeted that he will not be able to meet his supporters. A heartfelt tweet he had written that he would not be able to attend the Diwali meeting, and he was unwell, and he was advised by the doctors to rest. And on Friday, what we see is that he first meets with his uncle Sharad Pawar, and then he goes to Delhi and meets Home Minister Amit Shah. Now, how do you see this optic as? Because politics is all about optics, and this optic does not look very good. That you first visit Sharad Pawar and then Mr. Amit Shah, and then next day Supriya Sule says that personal relationships does not get affected due to politics, which he had said a couple of times earlier as well. So, how do you see this as?
No, Shashank, let's be very clear. I have been following Ajit Pawar since 1990, so also Mr. Sharad Pawar, even I had before that. One thing is very clear. Till Mr. Ajit Pawar was with Mr. Sharad Pawar, he was definitely under his shadow. He was giving all the necessary respect and kind of respect, as well as the honor for his uncle and Mr. Sharad Pawar. But when he arrived at a scenario that the time has come for Mr. Sharad Pawar to retire and give him or his daughter a clear chance to lead the party, he decided to take a call. And along with those 43, along with, of course, he himself and together about 43 legislators, they deserted Mr. Sharad Pawar and took a call to join hands with the BJP and Shinde and become a partner of NDA. But one thing is very clear, since day one, he or Mr. Sharad Pawar or Supriya are very clear, saying that as far as the personal and family matters are concerned, they are not going to sacrifice their own links and relationship. That will continue, despite what has happened at the political front. At the same time, Mr. Sharad Pawar is very clear. He said that no way, means he not just one, repeatedly has claimed the time is not at all there to have any kind of a compromise with his nephew now, who has deserted him, who has ditched him and become Deputy Chief Minister in a new establishment. So that is very clear. Supriya has been also saying, because he is now working president of a party led by Mr. Sharad Pawar, his own father. He has been all the time reiterating, which he reiterated just 2 days ago also, that as far as the personal and family relations are concerned, that will not be compromised, that will remain unabated, though they have taken a different political stand. So I think very clear, we are not supposed to read with too much of what's happening at their personal and family level. As you rightly said, he met Mr. Sharad Pawar because that was a family gathering. Mr. Ajit Pawar, whose uncle, means even Sharad Pawar's real brother and his father's real brother, Mr. Sharad Pawar's brother, who had basically Pratap Rao Pawar had organized a kind of a mini gathering ahead of Diwali because his wife is unwed, and he generally, the tradition in Pawars is that all Pawars gather for 5 days in Baramati. They may be in various parts of country or abroad. Most of them then try to be there for 5 days. But this time round, Mr. Pratap Rao Pawar's wife was unable to be there because of her illness, and that's why Mr. Pratap Pawar hosted a kind of a luncheon meeting for all Pawars, those who can make it. So, obviously Ajit Pawar and his wife went along with their sons. So also Mr. Sharad Pawar, Supriya Sule, Mr. Sharad Pawar's wife, and a couple of them. So I don't think there was much of politics involved in that. I mean, we should not read too much of in between in their meeting what happened at the family gathering. But immediately after that, Ajit Pawar took a special flight to Delhi, and in the evening he, Praful Patel, and Sunil Thackeray met Amit Shah. I was knowing this meeting for about 2 to 3 days, that such a meeting is in making. The only this thing was whether Mr. Amit Shah will be able to spare a time, as he was busy in election campaigning. But on the same day, they were told in the previous day, that is Thursday, that such and such meeting will take place on Friday. So you be there. So accordingly, they went. In fact, on Saturday, accordingly, everybody was already informed, and accordingly, this meeting took place. I spoke to Mr. Praful Patel, even though he did not give me the insight on what happened in the meeting, but the sources within the Ajit Pawar-led NCP clearly told me that apart from the much delayed cabinet expansion, the ongoing controversy between Maratha and OBC reservation, the various appointments of the legislators, the office bearers of 3 parties to be made on the state undertakings and various committees and corporations, that was also discussed, and also about how the 3 parties can immediately start the dialogue, which is much needed for seat sharing and seat adjustment for the coming Lok Sabha elections. So I strongly feel the time has gone, wherein Mr. Sharad Pawar and Ajit Pawar can come together. Ajit Pawar has decided to be an active part of NDA, who has been all the time, glorifying, giving much of credit to Mr. Narendra Modi for his 9-year rule, and how BJP is most, fitted to be the party in power even post 2024. On the other hand, Sharad Pawar is determined basically to part of India bloc, and to see that how he can be a contributory factor to bring all those parties together, the non-BJP secular parties together, to put up a show of unity in the form of India bloc against BJP. As far as Supriya Sule is concerned, she has been taking on Mr. Fadnavis in particular and BJP in practically every utterances that she make and the statements that she make to the press and media. So one thing is very clear: as a journalist, we'll have to keep this. Even though, of course, we can read between the lines, but as far as Mr. Pawar, both Ajit and Sharad Pawar are concerned, if they continue to have their personal and family relations, but at the same time continue to clearly pursue their own political goals, I think on these 2 fronts we'll have to just separate them, segregate them, and accordingly give our analysis when it comes to basically largely on political front.
No, Sanjay sir, what I'm asking is, on one hand, there are allegations that he betrayed Mr. Pawar, and then there are such meetings happening. So, how is it possible that both things can go hand in hand? That you
No, no,
betray and
Shashank,
then
forget.
you. Uh,
But Shashank,
so,
you are doing
do you
what
rule
say.
out the possibility of a ghar wapsi for
I
Mr. Ajit Pawar?
strongly feel, as the situation right now remains, both of them are determined not to have any kind of an understanding on compromise. Recently, I had 3-hour long interaction with Mr. Sharad Pawar, even though it was all private, not to be quoted. What I could guess, after completion of that interaction, Mr. Pawar is not at all in a kind of a mood wherein he will have any kind of a patch up with his deserted nephew. So he is determined basically to rebuild, rejuvenate his own party, and to see that as a as a partner of Mahavikas Aghadi, how he can get maximum, legislators and MPs, according to whatever the seats that he can get, so that he will use his own might and strength, and accordingly his party as well as the Mahavikas Aghadi in particular will benefit. At the same time, Ajit Pawar has candidly made a statement that whatever has happened is happened. He is now a part of NDA and he will not mix any kind of a personal private relations or family relations with whatever political stand he has taken. So I strongly feel at this point in time, it's not, I at least I'm not qualified enough to go on, just creating a kind of, or painting a scenario wherein, both are working in kind of a secrecy or a secret pact. But at the, when it comes to the public, both wants to project that they are the political rival. I strongly feel both have decided their own line, their own stand, and they will stick to that stand at this point in time. That's what they have repeatedly made it clear. I think it's our time to focus on that and to see that if they really stick to their own agenda and how they will pursue it ahead of ensuing Lok Sabha as well as Assembly elections.
No, what a lot of journalists have also told me is that there's some kind of arrangement, understanding between the uncle nephew, and after the 2024 election results, Mr. Pawar would come out and say that this was my googly, which he did in 2019 as well, and then the allegations that Prime Minister Modi had leveled about the 70,000 crore worth scam was just politically motivated to defame the NCP. So,
Sorry, I don't go by this theory. The journalists are free. Even I am also free to make my own assessment and air my views. Some of the journalists may be feeling this way, but what I have been talking to in number of their karyakartas, their leaders, their ministers, their MPs, nobody is hardly anybody is making any kind of a statement, pointing out as if there is kind of a secret adjustment between uncle and nephew. At this point in time, I'm very much clear, as per the interaction which I have been holding with both the camps, they are definitely in a fighting mood, and they will continue and evolve their own strategies as the elections come nearer.
okay, my last question to you, Sanjay sir. My last question. You said Ajit Pawar is unhappy right now in the alliance. So, what, according to whatever I have read, is Ajit Pawar has gained the most, what I've understood, gained the most in the least time in this alliance. Be it portfolio allocations, he got finance, his ministers got the best of plum portfolios. Be it guardian minister appointment, he got Pune. Chandrakant Patil, who is BJP strongman from Pune, was replaced, who is minister from BJP. He Ajit Pawar got the guardian minister post, and now you are saying still he is unhappy. So what more does Ajit Pawar want?
No. Listen, Shashank. That's why he is unhappy, because as a finance minister, finance and planning are definitely two important portfolios. The budget which was presented by Devendra Fadnavis as the finance minister, Ajit has got a role to carry forward it and implement it. Maharashtra has got a budget of more than say 5 lakh crore, with a public debt which is rising about 8 lakh crore. The revenue deficit about some 70,000 crore. The fiscal deficit about 92,000 crore. Against this backdrop, Ajit is restless because as a finance minister, he is unable to assert his own power. As now under the new arrangement, to avoid a criticism from BJP as well as Shinde camp, his wings have been clipped. The necessary files that he clears first will have to be routed through Fadnavis, and then it will go to Eknath Shinde for clearance. He is not at all happy with this kind of arrangement. This kind of an order was issued very interestingly by the chief secretary, which was unheard of, in Maharashtra. So that's why, he is restless, he is sulking. On the other hand, Ajit Pawar-led legislators or those who have been in NCP are always happy with whatever they can squeeze, whatever they can get maximum because of their clout, because of their might, because of their proximity with Ajit Pawar. But they are now also in a mood wherein, even though they are with Ajit Pawar, even though Mr. Pawar, Ajit Pawar is doing a lot of things for them, but at the end, they are unable to get the funds that are being earmarked for very different projects, which are quite crucial ahead of the ensuing Lok Sabha as well as assembly elections. So that's why Ajit Pawar led is definitely unhappy, disappointed, and that's why, as the news reports in Marathi papers have claimed, Ajit has taken up this issue along with Mr. Praful Patel and Sunil Thackeray with Amit Shah, basically to see that if the situation is not changed, then this kind of resentment will not augur well for a Mahayuti to put up a show of unity ahead of Lok Sabha elections, and that may, impact adversely the poll prospects. That's a scenario which is being discussed internally, and that is being reportedly taken up with Amit Shah.
Sanjay sir, I think we can conclude this show with this particular statement. What I could understand from whatever analysis you gave me is that there is not very much good things happening. Things are not favorable in the Mahayuti front, and it is going to be very difficult for Eknath Shinde, Devendra Fadnavis, and Ajit Pawar uh, to gather the public support amidst internal infighting. That is what I have understood.
Absolutely, Shashank. Just to conclude, that is not just enough. But I strongly feel that as the veteran and senior leaders, and basically with the support, tacit support of Mahashakti, they will make every effort to quell the so-called disgruntlement and to see that all three parties remain together to put up a show of unity and to take on Mahavikas Agadi to achieve Mission 2023. So let's not forget, with BJP in a definite, deciding factor, they will make all the efforts to bring Mr. Shinde as well as Ajit Pawar on board. That they have already been brought, but to see that these internal bickerings are being addressed, and they will be in a position to show a kind of a unity ahead of the elections, and accordingly all their issues are sorted out ahead of, in the run up to the next Lok Sabha election. So I think we cannot discard totally that, as if the war of words is going on, some kind of opinion which is against this entire scheme of thing which is there in the Ajit Pawar led camp. That means as if they will write off. They will not. Three parties with such a veteran leaders, along with, basically because of Mr. Very wholehearted support from Mr. Prime Minister Modi, Home Minister Mr. Amit Shah, and their entire, Karyakartas and senior leaders, three parties will not live like this. They would see that they get Maharashtra, that they get maximum seats in Maharashtra. Now, how the situation will shape up, how, these three leaders of their respective parties will, put this entire so-called rebellion or disgruntlement under the carpet, that is to be seen. But at the same time, how they will address this Maratha OBC controversy, that is also a matter of a kind of a serious concern for the Mahayuti government, and that we'll have to see as how Jarange Patil will, continue his touring. At the same time, how various OBC leaders have already announced to reach out to the OBC community and holding such massive rallies across Maharashtra. So Mahayuti government will definitely have a major task ahead, basically to avoid, a kind of a politics of hatred and politics of, what I can say, disunity, or, which may hamper the social harmony in the days ahead of the election. So that's definitely another challenge this Mahayuti faces. How Mr. Shinde, how Mr. Fadnavis, and how Mr. Ajit Pawar, address this kind of a scenario, that is a matter that needs to be looked into.
Okay, Sanjay sir, I think we can conclude this show with this. And thank you very much for joining in. viewers, we hope we could provide you with insights regarding Maharashtra politics and the infighting and Cold War conflict in the Shinde-led Shiv Sena and the Mahayuti. We are going to keep you updated regarding any updates in Maharashtra politics. And if you want us to discuss on any such more issues, you can let us know in the comment sections on what topic you want us to discuss. We will surely do that. But till then, you have to subscribe to HW News English.